I'm gonna start too.
Hello, my name's Grace, and I'm going to tell you how this guy named Rudy was able to make millions in the counterfeit wine industry. So, just imagine like whenever you're younger, and whenever you get like cereal boxes, you get like Happy Meals, and you built up the toy that you were supposed to get like really high in your mind, and you thought it was going to be like a really great toy, and it was going to do everything that it said it was going to do, and like you waited all day for it, you ate all the cereal for it, sent everything in the mail, and you get it, and it's this cheap little toy from China that breaks as soon as you play with it, and everything you hope for is just gone. That's how everyone that bought Rudy's wine felt, because they would spend thousands of dollars on this wine in auctions and bidding wars, and it would just be this cheap little product that he would make at his own house. So Rudy kind of brought like fake counterfeit wine to like everyone's eyes because they didn't know how big of a problem it was before. And keep in mind, this is like 2012, so not everyone knew about it at the time. And counterfeit wine is becoming a large problem in other countries. Like in China, at least 50% of their wine is counterfeit, and that was from my source, Perfect Crime. They sell counterfeit wine, and they don't have a real way to make sure that it's not counterfeit or authenticate it because of how many sales that they have. And some collectors just don't want to get their wine checked or authenticated by someone that's certified to do it because they don't want to get proof that they got tricked or that they lost thousands of dollars on wine, because they just don't want other collectors to know what else like has happened to them, what they've lost in money. And Rudy would kind of take advantage of all this counterfeit wine. Like he would sell it to his friends, and most of his collection that he would brag about would be counterfeit. And he made a large profit off counterfeit wine because he would partner with one of the biggest, auctioneers at the time. This auctioneer made millions with him, and whenever Rudy got caught, he just kind of sold him out, saying that he didn't authenticate it, that Rudy was supposed to be doing it. But Rudy made, at the time in 2012, over $100 million in counterfeit wine. Now that is over 500 million, and that was from my source, Curious Case of Counterfeit Wine. Because Rudy would buy all the Bordeaux, stuff like that, like a certain brand of wine, or a certain kind of wine. And so he had a monopoly on it, so whenever the demand was really high and he had most of the supply, he would sell it for thousands of dollars, and he would just be selling this cheap product, like cheap counterfeit that he made on his own. Instead of the one that everyone was supposed to be getting, like wine that was aged 100 years plus, he would just make this cheap copy from wines that he tasted that had like the same properties or same elements to it as the wine that he tasted when it was the original. And now we're just going to talk about our how and why people trust counterfeit artists. So Rudy was called the Gen X Great Gatsby, and that was from Curious Case of Counterfeit Wine, the same source as before, by one of the FBI investigators. So Rudy was like Gatsby. Like Gatsby was warm, welcoming, held parties, smiled, and was like really assured of himself and confident. Counterfeit artists assure you that what they're doing is what they're supposed to be doing. Like they make you feel confident in them, based on like how they put themselves off to you, like how they act around you. They play a part. And that's what Rudy was doing. He was wearing suits, going to these wine parties, being with like all the big wine people at the time. And he also made like positive connections, made you put like good emotions with him, like made you assume that what he was doing is the right thing. Like at these wine parties, he would be with people that called him a friend, that were loyal to him. Like he would make them part of his family. Like he would spend Christmases with these people, invite his family over, their family. They would all just have a good time all together. And that was from Science of Con Artists, because they just all had their own little parties, their own little cliques, and that's what he took advantage of. And in conclusion, counterfeit artists kind of take advantage of a situation, and that's what Rudy was doing. They know how to play a part, know how to play a role, and Rudy made millions in the counterfeit wine industry by being a good con artist, knowing what to do at that time, knowing how to create a monopoly, and knowing how to take advantage. Thank you.
Sure.